Well, welcome to another edition of GW Unspoken, where we discuss stuff we don't typically talk about, but probably should. And I've got my guest, Nigal DeMaria back. And what's happening here, mate? This is making me really nervous today. This is a first on GW Unspoken. What's happening here?
So we're flipping the switch, or what do we see? We're flipping the switch. We're flipping the coin. We're changing it all up for Garry tonight. Garry, you're now going to be sitting in the chair where I'll be interviewing you.
I'm actually sitting opposite. You've taken mic one. You've taken over control. You look like you're pretty happy over there, actually.
I'm loving this. Like, you know, the old principal in me is coming back. Like I'm in the big high chair, sitting back with the curved desk.
I'm in power. I feel like a psychologist. I'm the one who's got the questions asking you. I'm in my comfort zone, but now it's a bit... I've got no idea what you've written on that sheet.
I've got some good ones here. I had your daughters have a look at them tonight. They've highlighted one that they want me to ask that they reckon you're going to really struggle with.
That's great. That's really comforting. Thank you.
But Garry, you've been doing... How many of these podcasts do you think you've done now where you've interviewed people? What are you up to?
Overall, I think I'm pushing the 120 mark.
Right.
Last year we did one per week.
Yep.
I can probably around 50 guests now, 50 guest speakers, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right, let's start with some basics.
Let's go.
Let's start with the format that you started because I've copied you a bit here.
Okay.
Mate, tell us how you're going, 1 to 5.
1 to 5?
And tell us why.
I'm probably 4 at the moment.
4?
Okay. I'm probably 4. Rachel's away in Canberra working hard. And
hang on. Tell the listeners who Rachel is.
Rachel's my wife.
Yep.
Yeah. She's over there, over in Canberra, doing some good work out there. And I'm with the girls, but I enjoy being a father. It's just sort of making sure I get everything done. I haven't forgotten a girl and got the dinners ready and taking the right places and that kind of stuff.
Oh, mate, sometimes it can be like herding cats, can't it?
Yes, it can.
Yeah, you're juggling like 18 balls and you've lost 16. You're thinking, what am I going to do? Where am I next?
Yeah, and you don't actually get the same thing every single day. So they probably think that with the old man too. That's okay.
Mate, what would put you up to a 5?
I think having my own time in creating this business. Yeah, that would be it.
Okay.
Yeah, picking and choosing.
Well, we're going to get into that tonight as well to see where you want to head.
Oh,
yeah, I'm really interested.
This is scary, right? Yeah, nice.
So, another thing, mate. What are you thankful for? And don't give me the standard bullshit answer. Oh, I'm thankful that the sun rose. I'm thankful that I got my health. I'm thankful that I got my family. What's Garry thankful for today?
I'm thankful for my personal resilience.
Okay.
Is that okay?
No, that's crap.
Let's
open it up a bit more. Like, what do you mean about your personal resilience?
Okay.
Why are you thankful for that today?
I think that no matter what's happening in life, I still got that tenacity to keep going, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop for anybody, and nothing's going to actually get in my way of achieving what I'm going to do or get through a day, no matter how hard it is.
And did something happen today that where that personal resilience sort of kicked in, and you're able to go, I'm glad I've got that?
Today was a bit different. There's a few little things came up today. Yeah, probably work-wise it did.
You want to share them with us? Yes. Share one of them with us?
Probably just a way of seeing a couple of staff members working with kids. I could overhear that in corridors and out in the playground. So it sort of frustrates me after sort of read a lot of literature and research around stuff and wondering if different ways could connect with kids. Yeah.
So people are probably sitting here going, we don't understand what you're doing listening to staff in corridors. What do you actually do? What's your job?
Yes, I'm a teacher at the moment. So I've been teaching for 26 years. Yep. Have run my own business in sport with my wife and also in an alternate school arrangement. Mm-hmm. But I in the wellbeing space. So teach health, teach PE, sport and rec, life skills class I designed with a past deputy, and I look after the student engagement and wellbeing as well.
Okay. Is it an informal kind of role you've got? Like you've got a lot of classroom teaching load, or are you more in the administration, the leadership road? What does your job actually comprise of?
Yep. So half time teaching.
Okay.
Half a time working in a middle leadership role.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, you're hearing staff talk to kids today. I'm assuming you're hearing them talk probably negatively, authoritarian, like et cetera, et cetera.
Authoritarian,
Yep. It's funny you say that because the first thing I thought about was a internal conversation I was having with myself today was how horrible I've heard staff talk to kids over the years. Like, now why did you do that? You need to know better. I don't understand you. You don't understand what you're doing. This is absolutely wrong. The question I always ask is, would a teacher or a staff member accept that from their principal if they were spoken to like that? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they'll be straight in for grievances. I think they'll be finding out the loophole of calling the union up.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be taken well at all. Not at all. And I think the problem is too that, the worst thing about the teaching profession I find is that when teachers get together, all they talk about is school. And so if you ever go out for dinner and stuff and you're with people or your partners who aren't teachers, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
And it's a profession where your job is to judge. And so I don't know whether, when you think about it, I don't know if it's a really healthy thing to do in real life. Like, does it impact you in real life? I wonder that question.
It's interesting when you say that, when teachers go out socially. I can pick a group of teachers at a table, restaurant, pub, at a coffee shop so easily.
Yeah.
Because they look the same, talk the same, they've got the same mannerisms, and typically the conversation is still the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And not all teachers. Like teachers, there's some really great teachers out there too. But yeah, there's some teachers who probably need to do a little professional reading, I think.
Okay. Be supported to be a bit more strength-based, we can put it that way?
I think so. I mean, in a world now we talk about positive psychology and restoration and restorative practices and things like that, but I don't know. A lot of people still want they want revenge. They want to be right. They want to get consequences. They want consequences now. And if it's not enough punitive consequences, then I want more justice.
But doesn't that work? Doesn't that work for kids?
Please,
teachers?
you know the answer to this question. You know the answer to this question. It depends.
I want to hear your answer. I want to hear what's Garry's position on this.
Attachment. It's around attachment.
Okay.
It's around rapport building. It's around relationships. Everything is relationships.
Okay.
You give me the smartest teacher in the world and they can't build relationships, they may as well not teach.
Okay.
And I'm passionate about that point. I'm telling you now, if you're a parent out there listening, if you're a CEO, you're in charge of a company working with staff, even if you're a staff member working with other staff, build a rapport, build a relationship. Think of others and it'll work. I guarantee it'll work.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but it'll work.
So let's wind back a bit because we're jumping forward and back here. And that's what this is going to be like tonight, because if you and I are doing things the way I think we do things, where our minds kind of work in 4 different spaces at once.
Yeah.
Tell me about your family, your current family here with Rach.
Okay, yeah. So we have 5 kids between us.
Yeah, 5.
5 kids. So
I thought it was only 4.
No, 4 is what you see. So 5, we've got Decky, who's 22 this year.
Yeah, right.
So he's out at Canberra, studying international business and law, and he's very switched on young lad.
Yeah.
Good leadership qualities.
So he was your first.
Yeah, he was Rach's first.
Oh, Rach's first.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
And then when we got together, she had 2 girls and I had 2 girls in very similar ages.
Because what the audience might not know is Rachel's your second wife.
That's right. Yeah, so she's second wife. But yeah, it's full on. It's busy, but I love it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. People actually say to me, "What are you into footy and that kind of stuff?" Like, do you wish you would have had the boy? And I see Decky when he comes back, so we always kick the footy around and have those male bonding moments. But the girls love going to footy. The girls love wrestling around the mud. They love going camping.
So good.
I wouldn't change it.
It's so interesting. I got 2 girls.
Yep.
Georgia and Abby. Georgia's 8, Abby's 10. Well, about 2. If I asked them what their ages are, they'd say 9 3/4, 7 3/4. It's got to be really precise.
It's going to be rounding up, yeah.
But I was always really worried about having girls. How am I going to dad girls? Because I grew up on a farm, grew up with brothers, went to an all-boys school. And I would say the best thing about having girls is that it softened my heart.
Yeah.
And it made me it taught me how to become more aware of myself and other people.
Yeah.
It was so interesting. It was so beautiful.
It is good, isn't it? It's awesome. It's awesome.
So, what's something you once strongly believed in, but since now have changed your mind about?
Ooh, you are getting depth, aren't you? I was actually trying to find it hard to sit on the side of the table with a control freak. Maybe it's about being a control freak. I think before I started doing a lot of work around emotional intelligence, I thought my way was the only way. And if people weren't following that way, then why are they so lazy? Like if you've got something to do, just get it done. So what are you doing? Why are you waiting so long? And then read those books like, the 5 love languages and Personality Plus and skills with people is a big one. And it changed me. It's like, oh my gosh, you've been arrogant all these years. You got a lot of work to do on yourself.
Do you reckon you could have burnt some bridges in relationships by having that attitude?
100%. Look back now and think, especially with kids, like when I worked for a neuroscience mob called Stronger Brains, and I learned so much from them. I'm really grateful for that opportunity.
Was this the mob that did a bit of stuff around trauma-informed practice too?
Yeah, that's right. So going into schools and I was mentoring staff and students and learning on the run, but it was unbelievable where, I used to have a control freak sort of nature, Nigel, where if kids were sitting down quietly and they were looking and they looked attentive, then they were great. So, for example, a student would get out of their place, grade 9 student, we're doing a theory lesson, they get up and they walk away to sharpen a pencil. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm just sharpening my pencil. So who gave you permission for that? No one gave you permission to get out of your chair. Go and sit back down. You don't do whatever you want here. And then I'd leave that classroom going, yeah, that's pretty authoritative, and kids were really quiet and listening. And then when I work with strong brains, they're like, Garry, you do realise that 1 in 4, 1 in 5 people have these high ACE scores where they actually have trauma in their life.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
do you want to tell the audience what ACEs is?
Yeah, so the adverse childhood experience. So you basically, there's a test they did with over 1,000 people. I think it was white Anglo-Saxon people in America, middle-aged, I believe. And what they did a test, and the test was either 8 out of 8 or 10. And basically every time there was a traumatic experience, you get a point. And what they found out was that it's not unrealistic for people to have points. And my girls have got a point because they've been through a divorced family. Mm-hmm. That's one. If you've experienced violence, a death in the family, all that, they add up to points. And so points are not uncommon. But what they're saying is that 1 in 4 kids in your class, a very high chance are that there's 4 or 5 students who have an ACE score of 4 or 5.
Wow. Which
means that they are more chances of having heart disease, lung cancer, all these stress-related responses from their fight and flight and freeze response, their adrenals, even if they don't drink or don't smoke.
Okay.
And so I've just scared the crap out of these kids by being an authoritative and saying, you will do as I say because I'm a control freak and I think that this is a good class. Mate, they'll probably crapping themselves because they probably had people at home who might have been hitting them and acting the same way.
It's a real scary thing, isn't it? Like when you think about the position people like yourself and I have been in, being an ex-teacher myself, is that we can effectively make or break the character of a young person by being completely insensitive to who they actually are, but first not even trying to figure out who they are.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and I think just reflecting on those conversations today, I understand. For some of the conversations I heard today, I would have been the same if I didn't have that education. And I think I still struggle, I still fail, I'm still learning. I don't think I'm the best out there.
Yep.
But there's definitely ways where you can shape or break a kid.
So that actually leads me to my next question I want to ask you.
Okay.
If you could fully understand one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Oh, these are hard questions. I like these questions. If I could fully understand myself.
One thing about yourself. So give you an example. I was speaking to my partner tonight and I was running these questions through with her.
Yeah.
And I said to her, if you could understand one thing about yourself, what would it be? And she just said, why I'm always late.
Yeah, okay.
I don't understand why I'm always late. She goes, like, sometimes I'll come and meet you, Nigel, for a coffee and you're 5 minutes down the road, but I'll be 15 minutes late.
Yeah, right.
So as an example, what would you like to understand?
I think I'd like to understand why I have to always be on.
What does on mean?
No resting, no relaxation, no. I mean, I can chill and watch the cricket on the holidays, but I'll feel guilty. I'll be sitting around too much.
Okay.
So I need to be on. I need to be working hard. I need to get up at 4:30, work on this business. I got to go to school, do my best. I got to be on.
So what we've slowly established about you, you're a control freak who's always on.
Jeez, I'm like I'm still married.
Wow, we need to get the couch out, mate.
I need
to start charging for this
conversations
session.
On the couch. I have the couch into my little pastoral, my office room, and I call it conversation on the couch. So they'll come in, grab a seat, conversation on the couch. Let's go.
What is this for kids who are struggling? They come in and have a yarn with you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Is it kind of like a bit of an open door? They just wander in when you're sitting there, or how does it work?
Yeah, some email me, some will actually see me in the morning. Often I'll try and bring them with a friend so they feel more comfortable, not just one-on-one. Yep. I don't want them to feel intimidated. Doors open, obviously, but yeah.
So here's another question for you. Are you the stereotype teacher?
Absolutely not.
Why? What sets you apart? Not in a good way, not in a bad way, because we're not here to bag teachers and bag teaching professions because, like everywhere, there's the good ones, there's the bad ones. But what sets you apart from not being the typical teacher that you well, if you're like me, I have a sense of pride that I was never the typical teacher. I liked being a bit different than the norm. What were the things that make you different as a teacher?
I think, again, it's relationships first. So no matter what happens, and if someone's struggling, I'll find out. I can still lose it. I can still say, I get outside too loud, and I'll go, I just jumped too fast. And like, he's probably had a bad morning, or she's probably had a bad morning. So I think I usually put the kids first, no matter what. It's not about a power over it all.
Okay.
But that is frowned upon in the profession, I feel. I feel like, and I'll be very careful here still being employed as a teacher, but I feel like there may be some people out there thinking that I might be soft or lenient or whatever, which I'm actually not. I follow the rules. Kids do pretty well under my guidance, but yeah, Yeah.
I guess I always ask the question is, what are you going to be remembered for as a teacher? Are you remembered for being that teacher, like when people think back and they go, oh, yeah, I remember Mr. Woodford, sorry. I remember Mr. Woodford. He was really good. He always sat down and listened to me. Or they're going to remember you as, I remember Mr. Woodford. He was one who always yelled at us, didn't give us any relaxation whatsoever, was always hard on us. Yeah, it's kind of like what memory do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah. I think a lot of it's kindness, friendship. Well, not friendship, you know what I mean? Like building rapport.
Yeah, friendly but not friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. Hey, let's wind back to Rach.
Yep.
Where did you meet Rach?
I met her when we had she was starting a sports business.
Yep.
And came into the school, and so she was looking for a rugby league coordinator to run a program called League Tech.
Okay.
And so it looked too good to be true. I was very skeptical.
Sorry. League Tech looked too good to be true, or Rachel looked
both?
Too good to be, both.
Yeah, both. Yeah, she was switched on, knew where she was going, bubbly personality, and I was just like, I don't know about this. So I went and saw her again in the city. It was pouring down rain. It was like 4 hours drive getting home because it was flooded.
More interested in seeing her, or more interested in finding out more about the program?
Both. Yeah, both.
Does she know that?
I think so, yeah. I think so. I'm pretty open with that stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty emotional guy, so we often talk about stuff like that.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. But it was different. It was completely different.
And then where to go from there? Did you ask her out, or did she ask you out?
No, it was sort of mutual. And we started seeing each other, and then we started doing a lot of dream building, and I found out she was like on the same page with the direction she was going to go, and like always in for people, always out for an adventure, that kind of stuff. So I was like, yeah.
Tell me about your girls.
Well, they are 13 this year and turning 15 this year. 14 this year. Love them to death. They are a redhead and a blonde, and so you used to call them Elsa and Anna growing up, and that used to be really cool, but now it's not cool because it's not funny at all, Dad.
No.
So
not until they bring out the real life motion picture action version.
Then they can go for it and they'll get that. They'll get the role straight away.
Yeah.
Like we'd go through Kmart, for example, when Frozen 2 was going nuts, and I'd stay and we'd go past like Frozen little merchandise, and I'd say, hey, you two stop there, stop. Hang on, I can't even tell the difference. They'd go, shut up. So
did the song Frozen get played?
Oh my gosh.
Let It Go, what it was called?
Frozen books, Frozen everything.
Yeah, mine too.
Frozen everything. So they love my life. Do anything for them. Still want to build them through resilience, so I won't give them everything.
So why are you a good dad? Because you strike me as a good dad. I saw you tonight with your interactions with them. There's probably been some tricky stuff for teenagers, and I saw the way you're handling it and the calm manner. But also I saw a real sweet connection.
Yeah.
Tell me why you're a good dad.
I think I give them time. I think when we do our love languages test at school, a little quiz with our year 7s and 8, the life skills class. 80% of response is quality time, and I think a lot of people are missing out on that, whether it's because they're working so hard and there's 2 incomes or a split family and people trying to make ends meet. I think I give them quality time. I think I give them empathy and try and think what it's like, from their perspective.
So when you're sitting down with your girls, and I'm sure you've probably had something like this happen, how do you define success?
With the girls?
Yeah. Or how would you?
I'm going to go back to John C. Maxwell here and get them to talk about failing forward. I think a lot of times these days our kids don't allow them to fail. And I'm not saying being strict or harsh or not nurturing or guiding. I love that word guiding. Yep. But I think at the moment we just try and, the helicopter parents or whatever, bulldozer parents they call now, I think we've got to let them fail and break through that resilience wall and achieve success, and then they can keep going forward.
Did you ever struggle with trying to do too much, trying to protect them from the big bad world and become that helicopter parent, or were you pretty good at keeping yourself on track with that, teaching them resilience, failing forward, keep the effort up, keep trying, it's okay?
I think there's still times I reflect and go, I didn't do that too well, and I'm happy to go and tell the girls too, like your dad really probably failed you on that thing. Like I'm happy to own that. When they were young, I was very protective when they were young, especially Winter when she was young. I was always, if she was crying too much with their nan or something, I'll just give it here. I know how to fix it. Just give it. I'll do it.
That's a protective dad coming in.
Yeah, maybe I just think because probably went a bit overboard there, but that was there.
It's hard. It's very hard not to. Like I'll say to people, I am definitely wrapped around my girl's little fingers.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for me to say no to them.
Yeah.
And I struggle to do that. But it's also that protectiveness. Sometimes you just want to wrap them up, but then sometimes you want to go, hey, if they fall forward here or fail forward here, that's okay.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I often say to them, is it blood or vomit?
Yeah.
And they'll go, neither. I go, well, we're going to be okay.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
It reminds me of another time I was doing parent-teacher interviews. You'd probably love parent-teacher interviews as much as I do. They're fantastic moments. And I walked into the classroom, sitting down, and the teacher had all the stuff ready to go on Abby, and she's about to start taking me through it. And I said, I'm not really interested in any of that. And she goes, what? I said, can you just tell me, is she trying her best? Is she happy? Has she got friends? And is she respectful? And the teacher goes, oh, yeah, she is. She's great, little that. And I said, well, tell me about that. We went down that path.
Nice.
That was the stuff that was really nice to hear.
That's nice. Yeah. I think you get too, Nigel, like maybe I'm a bit overboard here, but I'll know when I go to the girls' parent-teacher nights and they go to a different school and you talk to the teacher and I'll say how they're going and, what are some of the rules. And as soon as the teacher says, well, in my class, I just felt saying, well, you're wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
It's actually your class. It's not your class. It's actually together. Yeah. It's our class.
Yeah.
And these are my rules and this is how I want the kids to do. And this is how I'm like, you've lost them. You've lost them now.
So, Garry, I'm sitting here listening to you about some pretty cool, I guess, philosophies and ways of being that you've got as a dad.
Yeah.
You've got some great ideas and ways of being and actions that you do as a teacher. I'm seeing a mismatch. Why are you still in education?
It's that the theory of, and the listeners out there, you'll understand this. Hopefully, if I say this properly, connect here properly. But they talk about the dog that sits on the pin, and the dog will just sit there. They'll just put up with it. They'll put up with it because it's not too uncomfortable. But once that pin gets too sharp, or the dog gets too old, it goes, "I'm out of here."
So, am I hearing there's a shelf life on you in teaching?
Yeah, definitely. I think this year's changed. I'm turning 50 this year. That Breno Brown thing's next to my head all the time that Rach sent to me. She's good at sending me quotes when I need them, but that thing saying, 50 years old, and pardon my French, they'll say, have you worked it out now? Life's not going to fucking stop. What are you going to do now? And I just think, oh my gosh. And I think getting back to your question, a bit long-winded answer, sorry, but it's that I love being with the kids. I love being with the staff. Like, even though there's challenges there, I just love getting there and connecting with them and seeing them as even a 13-year-old or 12-year-old to an 18-year-old. And just hopefully being that little guide in their life if they don't have that. And I think it fills that cup. And I love that. And I love teaching life skills. I love teaching PE. I still love it. And I'm 50 years old. I still love it.
Yep.
But it's got a shelf life this year.
Okay. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
What does an ideal day look like for me in the future? Can I answer that way? I'm doing podcasts like this full time. I'm going around helping in the mental health space and I don't mean that like flippantly. I mean, whether it be blokes or women on a mine site out in the middle of Idaho, whether it's getting kids into a podcasting van they want to create, from a studio and do a barbecue program where they connect with me and they have a feed and then, parents sign slips and they can come up and do what we're doing, open up, put their headphones on and they feel like they're the only person in the world and someone's listening to them and then they can triage them into people who've got the proper credentials to help. I'm really passionate about to help teachers. After the experience I've done with now and also in neuroscience, I want to help teachers connect with their kids because it's a hard profession out there. It's getting harder. I feel it's getting harder.
Why? Why is it getting harder?
I think, I'll ask this question to people who are 7-year-old teachers and I'll say, nah, it was actually harder for us. Like it's actually easier for you than it was 20 years ago for us. But I don't think there's the same family dynamic anymore. I don't think there's the same connections because technology has taken that over. We've got a lonely society who's addicted to phones and they don't have those true connections. And I want to bring those true connections back. And I want to teach the skill set based on neuroscience and mentor people about that. I want them to – I can influence so many people, but if I can influence teachers who can influence a multitude of people, I'll be happy.
So what's your thoughts on the new policy that's sort of come in this year across a lot of schools, especially the state ed policy, is that no schools, no phones at school? What do you think about that?
It's like the no social media. It'll be – what did David Gillespie say? If you're an alcoholic and you said no more alcohol and they had a glass cabinet with a padlock on it, what do you think would happen? They'll eventually find a way. So it's like it's any cheek. It's like if parents are working together or step parents are working together. As soon as there's a weak link, they'll find a way. So I think it's great what they're trying to do. I think it's awesome that we're supposed to do that. Is everybody doing that? Am I doing that? Am I putting my year 12s coming into class and they sneak a phone out and say, "Oh, that should be in the office." Am I sending it to the office? Because I'm a middle lead, I should be doing that.
It's interesting. I was at a school last year, kind of north of here, and not last year, the year before, and they were talking about these pouches that could only be unlocked with a magnetic, unbreakable.
Yeah.
And the principal's up there talking about how wonderful it is, how supportive it's going to be, and the kids won't be able to break into them. I jumped on YouTube, how to break into blah blah pouch. Within 30 seconds, I already had the manual.
Yeah, a couple of kids are probably showing you how to do it. Yeah, I know. So I think they're trying the right thing. It's costing our society. Our kids are growing up way too fast by the influence of social media, even movies. Singer-songwriters, look at some of the lyrics they're talking about, mate, and subliminally our kids are being changed. And people might say, look, Garry, you're old fuddy-duddy, that's how they connect these days. Yeah, well, how's that going for you? I'm asking you out there, how's that going for you? Because if you're going to be their best friend, it's okay. See how that goes for you as well.
Yeah.
You know?
So, Garry, we're sort of going more into who you are as a person. You know, we've got you, the family man, you, the educator, the forward thinker. You strike me as a quiet rebel in the education space.
I like that.
Yeah. What's a part of your life you think people misunderstand?
Ooh, part of my life that people misunderstand. I reckon that I'd hate to think this about what people think, but I reckon it would be easy for people to see me, and if I've got connections with kids, think that I know everything.
Okay.
And I hope that's not the case, because I am definitely the first person to own my mistakes or say I'm continuing learning about stuff.
You ever been criticised for having good relationships with kids?
Yes.
What does that look like? Criticism.
Oh, look, it's hard for me not to judge and think that's just a jealousy thing.
Judge away. Like it's a. I'd be really interested to hear your honest thoughts. And I'd also wonder, if I can ask you a question here, is it hard sometimes to answer questions about your teaching and your working experience because you're still employed effectively?
100%. I'll be very careful how I answer some of these questions, obviously. So,
what's the fear?
Look, I don't want to be unprofessional, and I don't think I am unprofessional. And there's got to be respect there. Like, at the end of the day, they're an employer of me.
Yeah.
And I do respect my job and position I've got, and I really appreciate the position I've got.
Okay.
I'd love to be able to do more in my role. That's a frustration where I am. But yeah, I'd hate the thought that people think, oh, look at, nicknames Woody thinks he knows everything. But he's just being nice. The kids just like him because he's just been nice. He's actually not tying the line.
Okay.
But, interview the students, see what they say.
And what would they say? What would the students say about you?
I think they'd say that it's really hard talking about yourself, isn't it? I think they'd say that he understands us, he connects with us, he has like an empathy towards how we're feeling or how we're at each day. Easygoing, happy to work for him. What I read about recently about if you do that with kids and build a really good relationship with them, that you can build the emotional currency. And so when you do need to pull them in the line,
so true.
They can walk past and say, "Hey, come on, boys, shirts in." Look, I have to have my shirt in. I've got flabs, you got abs. At least you got abs to show off through that shirt. Put a bit of joke, bit of fun, and they'll do it. And they'll do it. So it's building that emotional currency. I think.
Whereas if they don't have that with you, they'll be like, "Get lost, sir." Yeah, just walk off,
or tuck that front in, walk 10 meters, and take it off. Yeah.
What's something you can actually hold your hand on heart, and go that you've built either physically, emotionally, that will outlast you?
I think with my children, I'd say the man and father that I am. I think if something happened tomorrow, they would understand. They would understand how much I was there for them, and no matter what, I was a great guide for them.
So, what's going to be your legacy?
My legacy is to change the impact that authentic connections have been lost. So I'll rephrase that. We're going through a stage now where people get the next device. They're excited about the next lot of Nike shoes, or especially the next iPhone 25.
They line up 48 hours when the Apple shop.
Suddenly they've got money. Suddenly families have got money to buy these things, right?
Yeah.
I want to be a disruptor in that space.
Yep.
I want to be a disruptor. I want to go back to what we're doing tonight. I want to do authentic connections. I want to look belly to belly, chat about how we're feeling. Let's be vulnerable. Once we're vulnerable, we belong. We're part of a culture, part of a group, all that stuff. That's who we're meant to be, Nigel. We're supposed to be like this.
Yep. So that's your legacy.
Yep.
Do you think you'll get there?
I think
that's a legacy. Yeah. Is that your legacy, or is that the legacy you want to leave?
That's a legacy I want to leave.
Okay.
And that'll be, I cannot do that alone. I can't do that alone.
Okay.
It's massive. It's massive to try and change around what we're doing right now.
Okay. Is Garry where he wanted to be 15 years ago?
15 years ago, he would have said yes. When he decided to get over his arrogance and start reading and realising, holy hell, his way is not the only way and there's more to himself than himself out there, and put others first, he'd be very frustrated and think, what are you doing? That's what he'd be thinking. He'd be thinking, why? Like, teaching's still great. It's admirable. I still have a respect for a profession. But, yeah, business earlier to create different outcomes, yeah.
And it makes me think that I didn't ask you a question that I probably should have started at the start here. Why teaching? Why did you end up in the teaching space? Because you're not a typical teacher.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah.
My nana, who used to live in Chinchilla, said to me, my mum when I was a little tiny boy, like 4 years old, he'll either be a church minister or a teacher. Now, I'm at a Catholic school and I own a church.
Yeah, this is true. You're at that beautiful space up at if anybody has seen and not seen the church up at Mount Mead, it's beautiful there. It's just gorgeous, yeah.
So, and
it's a piece of history too, sorry. It's a beautiful piece of history you got your hands on there.
Yeah. We often go up there and just camp out under the stars. And anyway, the reason why I became a teacher was, I remember sitting down for my grade 10 interview, your little set planning, and rather than say, how do you want to live your life when you're older, they ask this question, what do you want to be when you're older? And that stuffed me up because they should be asking the first question, how do you want to live your life? Anyway, I said, I think I want to be a teacher. And the English head department said, anything else? But to be honest, I love sport.
Yep.
I had some great mentor PE teachers. Yep. And when I saw them rock up to school and they had their four-wheel drive and their Oakleys on and their cap on and their surfboard, I went, I want to be cool like that. Yeah. And I want to play sport all day with the kids and get paid for that. I'm in.
So good.
And that's all it was. It was that small thing where I think, they say if you want to live your life, look at the person in your profession 5 or 10 years down the track. That was probably lucky for me.
Yep.
Because I saw that and thought, I wouldn't mind doing that fun sport. But when you get to about 50, you're like, I'm reffing from halfway.
So if it wasn't going to be teaching, what do you reckon it would have been?
Oh, look, I don't know. I've been into fitness. Like, I'm a personal trainer, but look, I couldn't do it every single day. I couldn't do that every single day. I don't know. I don't honestly know. It's a bit sad, isn't it, when you think you've been studying university since you're 18 and governed by bells and timetables all that time. It gives you that employee mindset.
So tell me let's get to know a bit more about Garry with this next question. Your biggest fear, if it came true, what would it be? How do you think you'd handle it?
Surrounded by snakes would be number one.
Yeah, mate, well, we're not going to be helping each other out at all. I'm like you.
Yeah, and I'm up in the mountain too, so it's crazy. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Snakes, sharks, I surf. That would freak me out, seeing a shark. So those kind of things would scare me. The biggest fear I have right now that drives me every single day getting up early to work is that I suddenly get a terminal injury or illness and I'm on my deathbed and I said, I shoulda. And it will grate on me. I'll go to my grave so regretful that I didn't have a crack. And helping people to know, I know if I get a good team, we can make a difference. It sounds a cliche. It sounds really wanky. I know that, but I'll regret it.
Well, it's interesting when you say about it sounds like a cliche. They're cliches for reasons.
Yeah.
They're good sayings that have been born out of some sort of experience that's been grounded, that is probably grounded in adversity and challenge.
Yeah, that's true. So, that's true. But yeah, I'd hate that. I'd hate to have regrets. And I think that's why that little Brené Brown thing's on my mind at the moment.
Okay. Anything else you want to share about us before we kind of move into the, I don't know, the controversial fun part?
I thought this was controversial. No, mate, I appreciate this. It is. I actually find it really hard to talk about myself, to be honest. I find it very, very awkward to be on this side because even when we started the business up, I said, Rachel's like, you have to have your photo on Instagram. And I said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. So I want it to be about what we're about. And it's not about me. And she's like, no, you got to. And so I've been struggling with that. So, no, mate, I just, let's have another interview in 6 months' time and see how we go because I think there'll be some big changes.
Yeah, it's exciting to hear because what the listeners don't know is I've had the privilege of, 4 or 5 times you and I have got together and we solved the world's problems. So I get to hear some of the stuff you're dreaming about, some of the wheels in motion that are kind of starting to spin. And it sounds bloody brilliant and it sounds so worthwhile what you're going to try and do.
Yeah. And like I said to Rach, an ideal day for me would be to take the podcasting studio, make it out of a tiny home. No one out there can steal this idea, by the way, copyright. But, a little bathroom in one end and toilet and a little bed that folds up in the middle. You can have a little table and chairs and a few little drinks and that, so you can socialise, then step up to the podcast and make you feel special up there and drive it around to schools and mine sites and out west, wherever, and really connect with people and get them to open up and talk. So that, guest speaking about the stuff we're talking about tonight, do some online modules for people who maybe there's some parents out there who don't want to, say I'm struggling. They can click in and write some questions and ask some questions, and we can get some experts to help them out.
So looking forward to seeing where this goes. Hopefully we can do something together in this space. This would be pretty cool.
I think it would be too.
Yeah.
It'd be like, it's good cop, bad cop. I don't know who'd be what.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. We could probably switch it out. Like, have you ever seen that scene out of The Other Guys with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg?
Yes.
Where he plays good cop, bad cop, but Will Ferrell thinks he means bad cop, badder cop.
Oh,
and then Will Ferrell just goes stupid, screaming and throwing himself across the table.
I couldn't do that. You'd have to be.
Okay, let's go for some other things. Let's dig a bit more deeper into this stuff, mate. And I was about to say participate by choice on this, but I'm not going to let you. Current affairs and social affairs. Okay, what do you think about the Sam Kerr verdict from today?
Okay, again, this is going to be where the listeners think that I'm very naive and I'm maybe, I know the word's not intelligent, but not with it. But I actually don't really follow affairs. I don't follow the news. I don't follow any of those trends. The only thing I used to do was get the newspaper and look at the sports section. Don't follow it. Someone told me today about it, and I said, "What are you talking about? What happened?" And they told me. And then I'd obviously, everyone has their opinion, of course.
So did you get a small opinion for yourself? Or were you kind of like, I don't know enough about it. It'd be ignorant of me to put forward an opinion when I haven't really been delved into it too much.
I probably thought I need to think more about this because they gave me their biased opinion about what they thought. It was like, I mean, everyone makes mistakes. Role model. A lot of people join soccer or football because of her. National leader. Big mistake. If you go by, what I've heard today, everyone deserves a second chance. No one is perfect. What do you think?
Oh, I sit in two places with it. I was reading some information on the ABC today that spoke about what some of the some of the high profile lawyers over in London, their comments were on it, and theirs was about like, this shouldn't have even made it to court. Yeah, right. This shouldn't have even been here. Like, this is such a trivial matter. But then I come back to a thing of it from this thing. If we flip the cards on this, flick the switch, what if it was a white man saying that to a black female police officer? What would be now, it's not a fair playing field because we've got to talk about power and we've got to talk about prejudice when we talk about discrimination.
And history.
But at its pure essence, I kind of look at it like that. But then I kind of whack myself on the back of the head and go, hang on, contextualize it. There's a lot more to it than that. I think the thing I found probably most tricky about it, most of it, was seeing her say that. Yeah. The video recording of what she said. And we won't delve into the reasons as to why or what was going on for her, but that I found really confronting. Yeah. And it also saddened me a lot too. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So no, that's what I thought about it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you like how I just put that back when you like that?
Yeah, I did. I like the switcheroo. That was good. Yeah. 1-0. Well, let's switch it up in another section. Is Australia becoming too woke?
What does woke mean?
This is open for your own interpretation, Garry.
Does that mean soft?
It could be. Yeah, that's one way. That's one way some people would describe it. This is actually the question your daughter said you'd struggle the most with.
Is Australia becoming too woke? Maybe.
Maybe. Why maybe?
Is Australia becoming too woke?
Like, let me give you an example. Would you feel comfortable to call me a greasy dago because I'm Italian?
No.
Okay.
No. People get sued for everything around here these days. You can't speak in my. I'm trying to be professional on this podcast. I know what you're trying to get out of me. So.
I'm going to keep chipping.
Listeners are reading between the lines. Don't worry. So if I don't have a job in a couple of weeks, it's all right.
We can do a shout out to your principal after this. How wonderful!
I actually have a lot of respect for him. Yeah. That's fair. Oh, look, I think we are. yeah, everyone's getting sued or you can't say anything for anybody. Everyone has opinions. They're always going to have opinions. We're voicing our opinions. I don't know. It's at the end of the day, we judge people. So
if we're judging people, which we all do, it's a human nature, we just judge. What are your thoughts on this teacher down on the south side of Brisbane, Miss Purr? Have you been following this?
Was it Mr. or Mrs. Purr? Was it Mr.?
I'm not too sure, actually.
Someone was telling me about this again. I didn't hear about it. And someone told me that.
So the story goes that it's a state school down on the south side of Brisbane. I've been told it's Marsden State High School. That could be wrong. So, hey, please keep the letters off me, solicitors. Is that a teacher down there has cat ears, purrs, hisses, licks the back of her hands, carries on and says that and identifies as a cat in the classroom. How would as a parent, let's take your educator hat off.
Yeah, go.
And let's put your parent hat on.
Is this the unspoken bit where we say stuff we probably should?
Yeah, or shouldn't.
I wouldn't like it.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you like it?
Because people can be part of a minority group. And the issues of being part of a minority group, this is the issues for people in a minority group, is that they become a group of people who are still minority. And although they feel accepted and part of a group in that, they're still the minority. So I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying that they are probably worse off. They're still going to be worse off in that minority. Do I want someone my children going to a school where the role model is portraying as a cat when I know they're biologically born as a human? The answer is no. I do not want my children influenced or around a person who is identifying as a cat.
But if this person's a really beautiful, caring person?
I still wouldn't like it. And I don't know whether it's my biased opinion about my how I grew up. Non-verbals are more important than verbals. Probably a great person. Would I want them as a role model, as a teacher for my kids? No.
Yeah. And that's your right to be able to say that as a father.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So put your teaching hat on or your leadership hat on.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on it from a professional position?
So if I was a colleague or a principal or they were working for me and they were part of a leadership team, I still wouldn't like it. I still don't think because they're not my children in front of a teacher like who's identifying as a cat, I would not like that. That's the role model or shape that the children are exposed to. And look, I'll cop some flack for that, but I wouldn't like it. Maybe I need to move with the times. I don't know.
No, I don't think you do. I think one of the most interesting things about the woke movement is that if you're not on board, then you are discriminating, you're insulting, you're offending. And what tends to happen is that your own personal opinions and the respect of those gets lost.
Yeah, or questions.
And question doesn't get considered.
Yeah.
So you're kind of getting challenged you're getting criticised for doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
In reverse. And that to me just screams hypocrisy in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you want to be your authentic self, right? But even my authentic self to go to schools would be to be in board shorts and a T-shirt and stuff like that. Like I know it's probably completely opposite what we're talking about, like these extremes, but I still have to dress in a professional way to hold the reputation of the school.
Exactly.
In the profession of teaching, do I think someone who's identified as a cat appropriate as a leader for students? I'm not quite sure.
Well, you said you weren't. You didn't think you would.
I wouldn't like my kids.
I wouldn't
like, and I wouldn't like part of a leadership. In my perspective, if it was a school that I was working with or leading, I would not feel comfortable with other students, and that person being a mentor, and I would not be comfortable with the parent body like that. Yeah.
Okay. So let's step it up to another question. We often hear the term toxic masculinity.
Yes.
And what really upset me towards the end of last year was this great ultra marathon runner. Did you ever see this guy? I think he ran 1,600 kilometres. Ned, I think his name was. Ned.
Crazy.
And they showed some footage on some other programs of the actual sheer pain that he was going through. And it was fundraising. I think it was fundraising for cancer. Don't hold me to that, but he was fundraising for a wonderful charity.
Yeah.
But there was a reporter who criticised him and said this is nothing but an example of toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not my question about that. So, and we hear this term, toxic masculinity, quite a bit. As a bloke who's got a pretty colourful past in the sense of, you've lived life.
Yep.
You've had some experiences, you've had some ups and downs, and I've been privileged to those because you and I share some of our stories together.
Yep.
Is there such a thing as toxic femininity?
100%.
Okay.
100%. It works both ways. I mean, define toxic masculinity for me. Like, if we had to define that, I'll define it for you. Ready? You're an alpha male.
Mm-hmm.
You're an alpha male has an opinion. Now, I'm really careful here. Like, people are going to say jump down my throat here. But if you're an alpha male these days, you are under the microscope, I feel. You see our teenage boys out there, they are struggling. And we know that girls particularly like to be part of a group in social media and friends is everything. Like, I get all that. Like, I can talk about that forever. Like, that's the stuff I learned about. But our boys are confused. Our boys are confused. We go to parties, and we went to a 40th birthday or 30th birthday party recently with the older guys there, and next door to us was an 18-year-old birthday party. And so it was so weird seeing that, and these girls were dressed in next to nothing, skin tight. If they bent over to pick something up, you'd see everything. I mean, everything. And boys rock up in long skateboard shorts, hat back the front, and just a shirt. Not even trying to dress up. And Rachel and I going, what do you think's happening there? And we're like, well, I just don't think they know their place. I don't think young men know their place. There's no rites of passage these days. I'm stereotyping a bit, but there's no rites of passage program. When do boys become a man? When they do become a man, if they're an alpha man who is headstrong and want to protect and that kind of stuff, when does that become toxic? I mean, if we talk about being, what they say, smarter, kinder, wiser, stronger, that's one of the biggest parts in to be a great male, someone looking after another person. Am I toxic if I'm those four things? Or because I'm kinder, it's a little gentle, it's looked different? So I think you'll be really careful in that space. I think there's a lot of males out there who don't know their place. And I know there's a lot of guys this is why a lot of guys don't even open up with their emotions, mate, because sometimes when we don't become as what we stereotype as being masculine, it sometimes gets us back in the face. And that could be sometimes from people who have toxic femininity.
I'm just trying to think of how to wrap that up, but I haven't got a good way to go, hey, look, thank you for your opinion on that. But I think you made some really interesting points. It does scare me at times, Sometimes I kind of sit down and I go, can I say this? Can I do that? Am I going to get criticised for toxic masculinity? And then also I think I'm raising two little girls. What influence am I having on them? What role model is daddy setting for the man if they move into a heterosexual relationship when they get older? What role model am I setting for them? And that often plays over in the back of my mind. Was I being a good role model? Was I being a good man? And then the question is, what is a man? It's changed. And it seems to be always shifting.
Yeah.
1 week we've got a definition like this, the next week we've got another definition or an expectation.
Yeah.
But I think that happens across the board in many areas for people too, for women too. Like, I think the changing of definitions, which creates a changing of expectations, which then creates confusion, can be quite difficult.
I think I agree. I think it's harder to define a man, like that circle of trust. They say those four things: bigger, wiser, stronger, kinder. That's who measures that as well. And I've never had a physical fight in my life. And if I'm a toxic male, am I a guy who gets drunk and stereotypically punch people on and stick up? I'm a real man. I don't know. I think if someone's taking the girls, I think I get pretty aggressive physically. But I don't know. Tough one. But I think it's a very, very dangerous space. And I think we're losing our males. I think we're losing our support for our men out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to another topic. And what people might not know is that your wonderful Rach is First Nations.
She is.
Where's her country?
Well, she's actually from Melbourne. So she was born in Melbourne, but she was raised in Sydney.
Okay.
But she's doing she's going for the Sorry Day tomorrow. She'll be representing there. Actually talked to a bunch of kids today, about I think she said 16 to 24-year-olds, and trying to get them to open up about where they want to go in their Indigenous heritage. So looking forward to talking to her tonight, see how she went. Yeah. Very frustrating space, but she's a great role model for that space.
Lovely. Has being married to a First Nations lady and someone who's as articulate, as intelligent and just as lovely as Rach is, did that change your opinions on a lot of that in that First Nation space?
Taught me a fair bit. More around we talked about this thing on unconscious bias. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
But
Very powerful, isn't it?
but I remember saying stories like, those people, and she goes, those people, really? Who are those people? I'm like, the Indigenous people. And she'd go, okay, yeah, keep going. But I kept still categorising those people. Yeah. And it was really weird, Nigel, because I taught in Cloncurry 40% Indigenous population. I taught in Normanton 90% Indigenous populations. No problems, no issues, got along. I was the only white guy in a footy team, so I'd run the ball up and they'd go, here he is. Like, obviously, I'm belted, I think when I went to Normanton, I was the only white guy playing cricket, and the Indigenous population accepted me, and that was before I knew Rach. Yeah. So I've had Rach reckons I need to get a DNA test, actually, but definitely widened my eyes open. I was always often thinking, why do we have so many, this is going to sound really terrible, so many, respect to country days, or what every time we have to have like a ceremony day, like why do we keep doing this? And then I looked at the athletes model and what happened in the stolen generation, and Rach sat me down, maybe watched rabbit-proof fence and made me bawl my eyes out. And then I started, I had the same conversation with teachers and students saying, so do you think it's gone a bit too far now? Like, do you think we've gone too far, with acknowledgement country and that kind of stuff? I'd say, well, I know you don't have kids yet, but if someone took your baby away, would you ever forgive them? No friggin' way. I said, well, I think we still got a bit to go, haven't we? And just get to think, and I know it's more than that, but that's a pretty significant event.
Mm. Interesting how you put that. And it's really nice actually to hear the kids' response, because they make that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We showed something the other day on it. We had a big house day because sports income was coming up. We talked about the stolen generation, and there were so many students who came out and just said, oh my gosh, that just makes us think. And everyone was quiet. Makes us think so. Imagine if we were taken away from our family. Like, yeah.
Okay, let's move out of the heavy stuff.
Mate, that was pretty full on.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
Did you?
I enjoyed your candor too. You're very open, very honest.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I still have a job tomorrow or not?
I don't know. Maybe
I might have a relationship.
Maybe we should give a butter up to your principal.
Mr. Campbell.
Yeah, Mr. Campbell.
Yeah.
Now, from what I understand, Mr. Campbell is like one of these wonderful human beings. Like he's just the leader of leaders, off the chart, beautiful. Like you were telling me earlier about this bloke. Like, I was getting a bit sick of it, actually. Come on. I feel like I know this guy personally. I feel like I've grown up with him.
He's a good bloke. He's ex-footy head.
Yep.
Has to look after 4 schools. Be a tough gig.
Wow.
So easy could be criticised for, where is he? Why isn't he present? That kind of stuff. But ex-English head of department, articulates things very well. Very intelligent man, and actually love listening to him speak at assemblies or inaugural mass or whatever it is, because he's always got something to say. It's quite inspiring. So I actually respect him.
Great.
Yeah.
Favourite movie?
Oh, I can't go past Rocky 1.
Yeah, you and I have had this chat. Yeah, I saw the frame picture in there with
Adrian,
Rocky and Adrian.
So I've got, if you look down here on your left hand side down low, you might see there. I've actually got the VHS set and the CD set, and now obviously all on Netflix and stuff. So Rocky's the underdog, mate.
Yeah,
it's the underdog.
Such a great movie.
Yeah.
Favorite car?
See, Rachel's the car girl. I'm not really a cars person. I don't really care. But I told her I'm going to buy a Tirana one day. She goes, well, we'll get a divorce, so I get Tirana. So I'd have to go a Lamborghini matte black.
Okay. Why?
It's fast. It's fast and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
Very
I
superficial.
saw the bike in the shed.
Yeah, CBR 1000.
Yeah.
Again, it's. Yeah. I was going to say everything seems to be going black in my life, but be careful what I say there. I laugh. I say, I love you, sweetie. Yeah, it's a nice bike. I'm actually test riding the Diavel at the moment, V4 Ducati. It's a nice bike.
That's got some berries about it.
It's between a sports bike and a tourer, and a cruiser. But I've had 2 different bike shops, I had Rach at the back one time and just me on the other time. So yeah.
Okay. Hey, that's what I was going to hit you up. We should look at going for a ride this weekend, because I wouldn't mind getting out if you're around.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'm free all weekend. The kids are with their mum this week. This is mum's week, so yeah.
Okay, yeah. We might go duck out there.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Around the range there.
100%. Cat or dog person?
Definitely a dog.
Why?
Look, you can't really take your cat for a walk, can you? Like,
Well, you can. It probably won't walk properly, will
take
it?
it for a drag. We used to have this cat. My sister loved this. When we were growing up, in my house, at mum and dad's house, I'd be the first bedroom you come to, and outside my bedroom was a veranda. And we had this cat called Bacco, after Sam Bacco, the footy player, because we loved footy.
Wasn't he great?
He's good. And every time the cat would catch a mouse, he'd be going, meow, meow, like full on, until eventually he'd go, fine, I'll go out there because I'm closest, go out there. There'd be a half mangled mouse there.
Yeah.
Pat its head, good Bacco, and then then he'd be quiet.
Yeah.
It just annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just don't think you get infection unless you think it's going to go to sleep. It purrs up to you or wants food. That's it. Dogs are always loyal, is there?
Yeah. What's your saying? Dogs have masters, cats have slaves.
Ooh. Oh, this is from Nigal DeMaria. Very good.
If you could live forever, would you want to?
Yes. I'm afraid of dying.
Is that why you want to live forever? Because of fear of death,
Yeah,
regardless of what your belief system is, but
I have a big fear of death, big fear of permanent injury. I don't know where that came from actually. I just hate the feeling of, logically it makes sense if you go to sleep, you never know when you wake up anyway, right? But if I actually go to bed tonight and put my head in the pillow and go, imagine going to sleep now and never, ever in your whole life ever waking up ever again. And even now thinking about it, it just freaks me out.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to die. No matter how hard life is, I don't want to die. So, I'd live forever. I'd take is it the blue or the red pill? What did Matrix take? It's one of those.
I don't know which one it was, but I remember that.
Yeah, I don't think I want that big thing out of my back of head, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to be able to, fly a Chinook helicopter, use all those firearms and do kung fu.
Yeah.
If they could transport that to me, that'd be great.
I wouldn't mind being Keanu Reeves. He seems like a pretty top bloke too.
He does seem like a good guy, doesn't he?
He likes his bikes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I asked my partner that tonight, and she said, yep, but only if my kids got to stay with me.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She's a lovely mum. She's a great mum.
Nice.
Hey, Karina. Okay, so if you could live one day of your life exactly as it happened, but without changing it, what day would you choose to?
From now,
No, just you get the opportunity to go back and go, I want to just live one day.
Yeah.
This is one day. You've been gifted this by the genie in the bottle or whatever.
So it hasn't actually happened, but you're going to...
No, it has happened.
Oh, okay.
What is one day in your life that you would go, I want to live that day again?
I think the day my daughter's born. Yeah, I wouldn't change that day.
Tell us about what was going on.
That was a day when I was there for the birth. It was really weird because we didn't want to find out if it was a boy or girl. I had tattoos organised. It was going to be girl's name was going to be Winter if she was born, a girl, and then Slater if it was a boy. Mm-hmm. And then so the tattoo's ready to go, just have that mark on my body for the rest of my life. And always wanted to be a father, and I wanted to do it right as best I could. It was my number one goal, still is in my life. And I was there for the birth, and then when she came out the birth canal, I basically shoulder barred the doctor out of the way apparently. And my wife at the time said, well, is it a boy or a girl? And the doctor said, well, ask your husband because he knows more before we do. And I just remember I was holding her for probably an hour or 45 minutes straight, and she wasn't crying, just looking in my eyes and just looking straight down. There's a moment I'll never forget.
Wow. And
I don't know what happened the rest of the day, but no, I remember going, and I had a dream the night before that she was going to be born at 3 a.m. and it was going to be a girl. She was born at 2:30 a.m. It was a girl at Redcliffe Hospital, and I walked down to the car park at 5 a.m. to get my phone to text or ring my parents, and I was actually like, when you finish your finish line, you put your hands up in the air. I was like an idiot, mate. I was like, no one's in the car park. I'm just like cheering, just hands up in the air. No one knew I was doing it. So yeah,
you'd like to live
a bit emotional thing about that.
Yeah. I'm thinking, you made me think about one of the most memorable moments when my daughter was born. She was 6 weeks pregnant. It was all pretty emergency. She was in special care nursery. She was in special care nursery for like 2 weeks afterwards. So you have to go home every night. You can't take her home. But I remember I had this wonderful moment where, and I was her mum and I were the only ones who were allowed to, other than the nurses, able to touch her, put your hands inside the humidity crib. And I remember she was crying one night, and I put my hand inside just very gently on her chest. She started to go to a whimper. And the next thing, the little hand kind of moved over and grabbed onto my finger.
Oh, no way.
And she stopped crying.
Oh, stop it.
So beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you asked me this question.
Revenge questioning. Can I just say that you're doing a good job? You're making me squeeze a bit over here, like squirm a bit. You're doing a good job. You're loving this, aren't you?
I'm loving every moment of this.
Cheeto Unspoken's gone.
Yeah.
It's going to take your name over now. This is good.
Okay, so we're going to finish up the night on this, mate, because we've been through some great stuff. I feel we've gotten to know you a bit more.
Okay.
So you're very open. I like the way you think. I like what you're doing. I like the way you reflect on stuff.
Thank you, mate. It means a lot coming from you.
I like the dad you are too. Actually, I really admire the dad you are.
Thank you.
You can see a lot. I often say you can tell a lot about a man by his children.
Yeah,
you got great kids. I can see that.
Yeah, they all have their challenges, eh? And I think that's one of the biggest, toughest things in your life, I think, is that you get that balance right and it's never right. You just do your best and be there for them.
So let's finish up on this one tonight for the listeners. You got $20 left.
Ooh.
What do you spend it on?
Yeah, see, there's a guy, Ian Webster, came on the show and he changed my thinking because he goes, that's easy, Woody. What I do is I just buy $21 Cokes and sell them off for $5 each and keep doing that and make a lot of money. And I thought, that's smart. Like, that's business entrepreneur. I love that answer. $20. Oh, look, I just love coffee. I know I shouldn't. I got told that today I drink too much coffee. I get up at 4:30 in the morning, I look for an instant coffee and everyone goes, that's disgusting.
I love instant coffee.
I don't know what it is, but yeah. So
at least, because what I find about instant coffee that's so great, if you know how to make your own instant, you make it perfectly to your taste.
There's nothing wrong.
And it never changes.
No.
It's not like you go to one coffee shop, you get a different bean from this coffee shop to that coffee shop. The baristas make it differently. At home, it's just consistent.
Yeah. So Rachel likes the plunge and I just get sick of that after all. But yeah, so I think a coffee would be there. We charge for a coffee $5 or $6 these days. I'd probably get do like a chicken cheese and avo toasty.
Yeah, okay.
So it'd probably be food. If I was by myself, it'd be food. Yeah. If it was with the kids, I'd get a couple of pieces of sushi and they'd share it up probably.
Yep.
But yeah, I had one today. Can I ask you a question now?
Yeah, go for it. Please do.
One of the kids had these cards. He had a bit of a brain break and she had these cards, year 12 girl, and she says, so I'm going to ask you some questions and I have to be very careful because I'm a pretty person also to pick and choose, but you've got 15 minutes to live. What are you going to do? And I went, oh, am I here in Scarborough at the school? Like, am I here? Yep. What are you doing in 15 minutes? And I said, oh, obviously you'd try and ring your parent, you can ring everyone you know, but you wouldn't have much time. But what do you think you'd do?
Well, it always goes to my girls. I couldn't get them. I'd just make a recording.
Yeah, okay.
I'd make a recording, a video recording of me.
Yeah. Saying your farewells.
And just passing on some Nigelisms.
Yeah.
Hey, live by this stuff. Give it a go.
Yeah.
You know, it might only go to my girls, but hey, that's fine. Yeah, that's probably what I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. So we got the sushi, we got the coffee. Is it
the sandwich?
An avo and cheese sandwich.
Chicken cheese and avo toasty.
But don't you find the avocado tastes different when it gets cooked?
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh no, I hate it. I can't stand it. Yeah.
This relationship's over.
Oh, well, it was good while it lasted.
I don't know. Yeah, it's sometimes you just love those comfort foods and that. So
yeah, great. Good on you.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say, mate, I've had a great fun.
Me too.
I didn't know how this was going. I've been thinking about it all day, and I don't know if it was nerves or preparation nerves. But and I wasn't nervous about it, but I have been thinking about it all day and putting together questions, and finding out what might work, what might not work. But I want to thank you for letting me do this. You kind of gave over the reins, and away we go. And I hope your listeners get a bit out of getting to know who Garry is. You're now the guy. Is it behind the mic or in front of the mic? Which one are you now? I don't know how they say it.
I don't know. I think I'm behind the mic.
Yeah.
But you've done a good job today, mate. And the listeners need to understand this too. We're being candidly honest here, but we had your interview probably 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
About a week, 4 or 5 days ago.
That was last Thursday. Yeah, last Thursday night.
So nearly a week ago. Yeah. And then you've messaged me at 6 o'clock this morning, and I've got that message on the way to school around 8.
Yeah.
And I've gone, okay, I'm free. What I say this next week, or otherwise tonight. And you go, okay, let's do tonight. And I've gone, right, yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
You're very respectful waiting outside because my girls are home, and even though they've met you before, you're very respectful. I appreciate that. But yeah, mate, chicken and the roast chicken sandwiches are out again.
Yeah, we did it again. How good are they?
But mate, thank you, and thanks for making me be vulnerable, and I really appreciate you coming in and turning the screws and making me squirm.
Such a good opportunity. Good on you, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.